Hi and welcome to this part 3B of overhauling the valve guides of my Moto Guzzi Le Mans 1000. In this particular installment I'll be reinstalling the exhaust system and mufflers and also the carburettors and the fuel tank. Then I'll be running the engine for 10 to 15 minutes to just settle everything down, allowing it to cool down, and then retorquing the heads and exhaust manifolds. And that should be pretty much it for this particular series of videos, and hopefully everything will turn out okay. Okay, let's get started. First we put the exhaust gaskets in. I've put the one in on the other side, so I'll put the left-hand one in now. Don't forget to fit the two washers. There's two sort of serrated washers that go on. Now we just need to juggle the pipe backwards and forwards a bit until we get the same gap between the header pipe and the frame on both sides. And then we can tighten up these two header pipe bolts. Now we just do up the crossover clamps. You may find that putting the rubber manifolds and the snorkels that go into the airbox in boiling water for a few minutes will soften them, particularly if they are old and fairly hard. Okay, well, we've run the engine for around 20 minutes to get it nice and hot, and now comes time to retorque the heads. Now there's a bit of controversy even in this area. Standard practice is to retorque aluminium barrels and heads when they're cold, and certainly that's the way that we've all been doing it for many years. In fact, the factory manual for this bike doesn't even mention retorquing the heads after running the engine. It just really states a torque figure of 29 to 30 foot-pounds on assembly of the engine, and that's the only mention it makes. But there is another way of doing it, and that's retorquing the heads when the engine is still hot. Now this method was told to me by Bill Finnegan, who actually discovered that this was what they were doing in the factory to new bikes in the 1970s when he went on his, I think it was his first visit to the factory. He noticed that after the engines were being run for the first time, they were retorquing the heads straight away, and he asked them why they were doing this, and they said that they got a better result retorquing the heads when they were hot, that there was a better chance of the gasket bonding or sealing between the head and the top of the barrel if you did it when it was hot. And he asked why this wasn't actually in the service manual, and I guess they just shrugged and said not their problem. Anyway, the traditional wisdom is to do this while it's cold, and whether you want to do it when it's hot, I guess, is up to you, because it's not a widely held practice to do it that way. Anyway, so enough of that. Let's actually get down to retorquing the heads. Now I've turned the engine over to top dead center on the firing stroke for the right hand cylinder. First I'll take the plug out. Now the rocker cover needs to come off. Now we need to take the two rocker arms out. There's still a bit of clearance there, so just take care not to lose the washers and the spring. Now we just remove this plug here. Now we just loosen each one in turn, just an eighth of a turn, and then retorque it up to 30 foot-pounds. Now that we've finished retorquing the heads, it's time to check the valve clearances. Now this step does have to be done with the engine dead cold. Now I've already reassembled both rockers on this side and the engine is still at top dead center on the firing stroke. So we're pretty much ready to start. Now we do our valve clearances. The exhaust should be 0.25. It's a bit tight, so we'll loosen that. And the inlet we do to 0.2, again that's tight. It's perfect. Now we don't want to forget to put our plug in. And finally, our rocker cover. Time to put the spark plug in. And you also want to tighten up the 2 bolts on the exhaust manifold, because the exhaust gasket will crush down a little bit with use. Well, that's pretty much it. I've got a few other little things to fit on. I've got the shrouds for the crossover to fit on. I've got the front guard and a couple of other little bits and pieces that need to be put on before I can take the bike out on the road for its first test ride. So that's the end of replacing the valve guides on my Moto Guzzi Le Mans 1000. Hopefully I won't have any issues with the bike, and I'll do an update in a few hundred kilometres time and let you know how it's going. I'll see you then.